been horribly tainted. It's been just, I can't even find words to describe how mixed up and confused it's been, but God is able to ease my confusion, and He allows me to get messages all along the way that straighten that confusion out for me. And so I happen to know that the Damascus Road is not far from the continent of Africa, so we were having experiences with a power greater than our own long before those ships left here. Left Africa. So when we were in Africa, Africa is the story of world history. It's not just our history, it's the history of the planet. The oldest human beings have been traced to the continent of Africa. That means the Garden of Eden is in the continent of Africa. That means Adam and Eve look like me, or maybe a little darker. That means that my existence did not start when that first ship left. My existence started when God went, whoop, and said, I'm bringing life. I'm bringing life. I am directly related, as with all of us, to Adam and Eve. They weren't whitened up and fed to me forcibly to make me whole. I had a connection to them when I came here. And when my ancestors were born, their connection to life and to God was etched in stone. A whole lot of lies have been told to confuse all that. And we know who the confusion and the author of confusion is. So at some points, we don't really hang out with him long. He comes and does his due, and sometimes we give him more room and time than he really deserves. But we don't stay there long, because if we did, we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
That's right.
He's had a lot of power, and he would have erased us at any given moment if we'd have given him all of our power. But we haven't given him all of our power, and we have no intentions on doing that, because we know that our love for God is bigger than the confusion he can present. And so when those ships came, we cried. Those ships left people. Now, to show you how confusing this thing can be, there were people on that shore that were actually instrumental in all of us getting here. Now, at the time, they didn't understand that where they were sending us, but they participated. And if you go to Africa today, you're not going to have many conversations with people who will really talk openly and freely about the participation, because really, we don't have Caucasian Americans here saying, yeah, my great-great-great-grandfather had about 600 slaves. We don't hear anybody here saying, yeah, my great-great-great-grandmother got John Brown lynched because she lied and said he raped her. So the fact that we don't have many of our sisters and brothers on that continent owning their part of what happened is to some degree okay.
Come on now.
It's not like God's not bigger than that. God is bigger than that, and our work around that is our responsibility anyway. His role has pretty much been done. He granted us life. It's our responsibility to make this life worth it. But when those ships left, there were ancestors on those shores praying for us, saying, God, hold on to them. Don't let them perish. Let them live. Let them breathe. Let them go through and withstand whatever it is they find on that other shore, and take care of them, because we are never going to see them again. And they knew that. And so they prayed prayers that God heard, because if not, we wouldn't be sitting here. And a lot of that pain and agony that we went through to get here caused us so much pain we couldn't pray. All of us couldn't pray. Many of us jumped ship because the experience was just more than we could handle. And when we got here, as if that trip from Africa to here wasn't enough, when we got here, that was a whole nother world that I'm not going to spend much time on today, except to say we owe it to our ancestors to refer to them as human beings who were enslaved. If we don't do nothing else with our time here on this earth, and we don't speak any other words, we owe them to no longer refer to them as slaves and refer to them as human beings who were enslaved. Because they were human first. They were children of God first. And that enslavement was designed here.
That's right.
So from here on out, for the rest of this life, it behooves us to no longer refer to them as slaves.
Yes.
They were not slaves. They were human beings who were enslaved.
Yes.
And to tell you how committed I am to this, I taught my grandchildren to say in school, I taught my children too, and I said, and if you get a teacher who got a problem with it, call me.
Yeah.
I ain't been called to go down to no school yet, but I'm prepared to go when I get the call.
That's right.
The truth of the matter is that the lies that have been said about us, you know, we got this thing that we say, you don't put your business in the streets, right? You keep your, well, that don't work. Because the business that's been put in the street about us ain't true. And the truth of the matter is, it's our business.
Yes.
We are the ones who ought to be talking about it.
Amen.
I'm not going to lie and call myself ignorant and stupid and foolish because I'm not.
Amen.
But if I let somebody else talk about me, they going to call me ignorant, stupid, and foolish. So from here on out, the history is not yesterday, it's today.
That's right.
Today, I belong to God. I am a whole, complete human being, and I came here to make sure that somebody that made that trip gets the message in glory.
Amen.
I came here so that the children coming behind me, all these, you know what? The first time I spoke in public in my life, I was 5 years old, and I spoke at church.
Yeah.
And every Easter, every Christmas after that, I was in a Christmas program, an Easter program at church. And my pastor then, just like my pastor now, used to say, you know, little Sister Peach gonna grow up, she gonna be somebody when she grow up. She gonna be somebody when she grow up. Now let me tell you what'll happen if you're not careful, children. When I started growing up and I started finding my way other than places at the church, I got real messed around. I got so messed around, it's only God's grace that I'm standing here now and that my elevator still goes to the top. So be careful when you're out there, because be careful, children, when you're out there, because every sugary thing is not sweet. I'm a witness. Be careful out there, because everything that glitters is not gold. Be careful out there. Don't let nobody tell you who you are. Don't let nobody. They told me I was stupid.
Amen.
They called me stupid. They called me dumb. They told me I was, I ain't even got a list big enough to tell y'all all the negativity I heard about me. But because of God's grace and mercy, because I had a praying mother, because I had a praying grandmother, because I had a grandmother that I didn't even see who had already gone to glory when I left, I know she praying for me.
Yeah.
I never touched her. I never heard her voice. I never had a chance to comb her hair or anything. But I bear witness that she is praying. She's making intercession for me on the other side. Because if she wasn't, I wouldn't be here.
That's right.
So, African American history is world history.
That's right.
It's a history of love. It is the history of love. Because really, if anybody else had been on them plantations and went through what we went through, and still took care of us and them, our children and theirs, and still take care of them, I'm going to say this for real, and I'm going to hush up. Y'all know what President Obama walked into when he was inaugurated, right?
Yeah.
Y'all know the mess that had been going on for centuries. When they murdered off Native Americans, they set themselves on a course that had no choice but to end up where it ended up, right? You can't. God knew Native American people was here. They wasn't lost. So if you murder off any people, any group for any reason, you have hurt God's heart.
That's right.
So murdered off Native Americans, captured us, brought us here, suffered us in a way that most human beings can't even talk about. It's so painful. So that mess that was started kept on brewing. Well, last year, was it last year when he got inaugurated? Last year.
Yeah.
Okay. The Titanic had sunk. We've been changing seats on the Titanic since George Washington stepped in there and started his foolishness. But we had changed seats on the Titanic for years. Too many. Too many. Decades.